Hello, this is Angelo with another coaching masterclass and with what I believe my favorite subject. Today's title is Unleash the Power of Your Mind to Achieve the Happiness and Success You So Much Deserve and Desire. So, as always, before we begin, I want to thank you for being here and I want to congratulate you for being here because you know by now how easy it is to get distracted, to have some kind of notification stealing your attention away from your dreams and towards somebody else's dreams. So instead of hitting likes or shares on somebody else's content, you are here because you want to bridge the gap from where you are to where you want to go. Now, you want to switch off all notifications on your phone or switch off your phone already unless you're watching from it right now. And if you're watching from a PC or tablet, just close all other tabs that are on right now and make sure you're completely focused on what we are discussing here. Let's just say for the next 45 minutes or so today, it's going to be a bit of a stretch, but it is very important subject. And this is why I wanted to make sure that I will not only give you like the gist of the content, because it is a subject that we could be talking for days, but I will give you the gist of the content and how everything works. And also I will give you one of my best examples. Are we okay with that? Great. Now, of course, you're more than welcome to take notes, but always remember that you will be having the replay at your disposal if you want to fully focus on what we will be discussing here and be fully present. Last but not least, I want to remind you that we have crossed the point of no return, meaning that the only outcome that you allow in your consciousness is you landing happily and safely at your desired destination. How do you feel? The question that I begin each and every webinar with, and the question that you want to ask yourself many times during the day, simply because the better you feel, the better your present is, the better the quality of your life is right now, and also the more energy you have towards achieving whatever it is that you want to achieve. Also, I want to remind you that we have set our thermostat here at Happy and Unstoppable, meaning that every time that we feel that our emotional state is below that, we practice the exercises of perspective, forgiveness, love, gratitude, and happy landing to bring ourselves back up and make sure that we are operating from the happy and flow state, meaning that we're taking advantage of our amazing gifts, the things that we have been given since birth and we have within and can help us get wherever it is we want to go much, much easier and much, much faster. Now, a bit of a warning. Many of the things that you will hear in the next few minutes, you might say, you know what, Angelo, I know that. And I want to remind you that it's not so much what you know that will get you where you want to go, but what you own. And you want to take yourself beyond knowledge. In fact, these are the three most dangerous words. And if you look back in your life and you feel that you're in a point of stagnation and not much is happening in your life, once or more, you've said, you know what, I know that. I've heard this before. Oh, yes, I've read that book. I've read Think and Grow Rich. Yes, but did you think and grow rich? This is the game changer. So I will venture a guess here, and I will tell you that you will most probably achieve more from now on in your life if you watch this or any webinar 20 times than watching 20 webinars once. Because again, it is not so much what you know, but what you own. What is part of your operating system? What is part of your beliefs and habits? And I gave you a hint of what we will be discussing in the upcoming minutes. Now, I promised that I will tell you why you're failing. And this is like the core of each and every failure, no matter how you see it. On surface, you might, think that it is this, that, or the other reason. But if you look at the core, all failures boil down to this. So let's just say, I will give you an example before I tell you what it is. So let's just say right now that you said, you know what? I love oranges, but I don't want to go like to the supermarket and buy oranges. I want to have my own, grown my own amazing oranges. And every time I feel like it, go to my orange tree and like pick a delicious orange and eat it or make an orange juice with it. Great. So what you have like some amazingly fertile soil in your garden, and you go out and plant some apple seeds. Okay? So you water, the sun does its trick, and you water the seeds each and every day, and suddenly, like you see something like blossoming, and then you see like a little trends and everything. And what is happening after a few months? Sure enough, you have an apple tree because the seed was not right. And I've heard this, it's so funny to me, I still laugh. I've heard this like 15 years ago at the T. Harv Baker event. And he said, you know what, if you take like some tape and you stick some oranges in that apple tree, would it become an orange tree? And the answer is not. Because everything goes back to what the seed was. And the seed carries with it the genius it takes to get whatever it is from the initial state to the full blossomed real state. Same goes with each and every desire you have. When you have a desire, this desire within, forget about desire, each and every thought has within it the genius to become something. So if you have a, let's say, bad thought, a crappy thought, and something that you will entertain over and over again, this perpetuation will become something, and something not wanted. So always remember that change happens at a belief level, not an action level. So again, you cannot take some tape and stick some oranges in the apple tree and say, you know what? I have an amazing orange tree. No, you don't. Because life works in a specific way, and that way is be, do, have. So you might go to a masterclass, might watch another masterclass, or you might go to a seminar and you might hear the speaker say, you know what? You're failing because you're not taking massive action, and you should try harder. You should work harder. You know what? If your mindset says, I am not good enough, or whatever I do, I am failing, and all these things, no matter what you do, you will be failing. You need to take action actually on upgrading the thing that messes up with everything else. And I have some good news for you. You or anyone else, you are not defective. I am not defective. I have failed miserably in the past. And I was very fortunate one day because I stumbled upon one of the very rare and very beautiful messages of Neville Goddard. And what he said basically is that if you take a piece of steel and another piece of steel that is magnetized, a magnet, so you have like a neutralized piece of steel and a magnetized piece of steel, they do not differ in anything but the direction of their molecules. That's about it. But in substance, they're absolutely the same. Their molecules are absolutely the same. Steel molecules. So, why did I tell you this? Because you want to realize that we all have the same raw materials, the same ingredients in our minds, and the only difference is the programming, the neural associations that are being made. And as I want to take this a bit further and tell you, not only you're not defective, but the other good news is that you are programmable, meaning that you can upgrade at will your beliefs. And as Neville Goddard beautifully said, no matter what it is that you want to achieve, it is simply a rearrangement of your mind. That's all it takes. A rearrangement of your mind. So again, the guy who has like $0 in their bank account and one who has $1 million in their bank account, one who is happy, the happiest person in the world, and the one who is the most depressed person in the world, they all have the same mind, and the arrangement is the only thing that differs. That said, let me remind you how we operate. Our thoughts lead to some feelings, and our feelings lead to an action taking, and these actions lead to results. And if you zoom out your life, what you will see is the thoughts create a set of beliefs, and these beliefs create feelings, and these feelings create habits. And always remember that your habits are the ones responsible for your results, simply because at least at 95%, maybe at 97 or even more, you operate each and every day at a subconscious level. So everything, almost everything that you do is pre-programmed. And this is why you keep having like the same results and saying, what is going on? I consciously told myself and others, I want to go someplace else. I want to achieve more. I want to be happier. I want to be more productive. And guess what? You're not. Why? Because the program has not changed. And to take this one step further, all your beliefs together form what we call your mindset. Your mind set. This is where your mind is set literally. So, if you want to have another set of results, you want to have another set of beliefs first. Now, your beliefs affect in real time what you perceive as reality. The ideas that you download, you cannot have beliefs like I'm not enough and have like an amazing new idea of like the next fuel that will save humanity or whatever, because your initial belief blocks that idea that is traveling in the ether, waiting for someone to pick it up. But you need to resonate yourself first with it. Your beliefs also affect your behavior, because if you say something to me, the way that I will react has to do with my belief system. Now, it also affects your synchronicities. If you believe you're lucky enough to find like a great partner in life or in business, you are more prone to making that a reality. If you feel that somehow always you get stabbed in the back, you will attract a life or business partner that will most probably stab you in the back. Now, next, your belief affect the outcome of your actions. This is very important. So two people might like put the same amount of budget, like $100 of budget, and they have the same target in their ads and the same exact image and the same exact copy, but their beliefs will actually affect the outcome. So if one says, you know what, I don't believe in Facebook ads. Facebook ads are a hoax. Someone else might say, you know what, Facebook ads are a miracle. I couldn't live without them. My business, I cannot wait to see what will happen, how my business will explode with Facebook ads. These two people, they will get different results because they will attract different results. They will resonate with different results. That said, your beliefs affect your whole life. This is how important it is for you to upgrade your beliefs. And the best belief to have is to already see yourself as your super self. Go immediately to the end result. This is what you want to do. This is the core belief that you want to upgrade. But of course, someone might say, you know what, Angelo, easy to say, hard to do. Yes, it is easier said than done. And this is why we have a progressive journey toward that core belief called belief weaving or belief booster. I use both terms. I like belief weaving because literally it is something that you do in virtually real time, as you will see here. So I promised you an amazing example, and we will go back to March 2021. And back then, my business was struggling because it was the second COVID lockdown, and I was hit once, and then the second blow didn't only hit my business, but also my emotional state. And I thought, what am I doing here? It's been like I was already about 14 years in business. And I thought, why am I doing this? Am I just, like going someplace to go back to square one and this is how it is? Is this how it will develop? And I realized back then, because I've heard this from Ed Milet, who I respect a lot when it comes to business development. And what Ed said, that his growth was never linear. His growth was always in steps, let's say. So I thought I need to create another step for me and stop having these like good 5-figure months, and let's have a breakthrough. I wanted to create my first 6-figure month. So what happened was, as my business was struggling, I created a new desire back then, right? So that desire was to have $100,000 in gross profit in the next 3 weeks. And that for me was a stretch. I have never done anything like it. If I remember correctly, I think like half of that would be my best month ever. Okay, so that would be to at least double my best result until then. So this was my desire. Look what I did next. I set a destination and I said, this is where I'm going. And that destination was $1 million in gross profit in 3 weeks. And someone might say right now, Angelo, what have you done? You have instantly 10x'd your problem. You have made your life 10 times more difficult. And I said, no, I have just started making my life 10 times easier, because this is what I really want. But if I honestly go about that, my mind will explode. My consciousness will expand to this level of goal setting, and I train myself to make this number look easier and easier. So as days went by and I was conditioning myself to the 1 million, the 100,000 was seeming like a piece of cake, even though it was at least 2 times harder than what I have ever done before. This, again, is like the first step to upgrading my beliefs in a more serving way. Of course, I had an inner discussion back then, and immediately what I heard from my mind was, impossible. There is no way you can do this, man. Forget about it. Of course, my next response was, okay, let's talk about it. Let's do some belief weaving. Let's see who is right and who is wrong. Right? Great. Because I want to remind you at this point that only when you have a clear destination, your limiting beliefs will start to surface. You need a clear and a clear and compelling destination before your limiting beliefs surface. It is very important because by definition, this is like a timeout on the regular show right now. By definition, all your beliefs are limiting beliefs. If you say, I will make $1 million by tomorrow morning, someone might say, okay, this is a limiting belief. Why not make $2 million by tomorrow morning? So each and every belief by definition is a limiting belief. And since our mind is a chaotic labyrinth of thoughts and beliefs, you better focus only on the ones that affect your destination. Otherwise, this is like an endless loop of upgrading something that could be irrelevant, right? Great. So next thing is After I set my destination, I wanted to see if there are any limiting beliefs. And lo and behold, I found out 14 limiting beliefs, 14 reasons, in other words, 14 reasons why I couldn't believe that I'm going to achieve that goal. Number one, I don't have a big and responsive list, email list, right? Good enough to get me that result. Number two, I don't have enough ads budget to achieve that goal. Number three, I don't have enough time, only 3 weeks. Number two, I am competing against some very big names of the personal development and internet marketing community. Next, not much is happening during the last few months. So just because my past was linear, I believe that this will perpetuate. Next, never done this before. Next, with who am I? Who am I to do $1 million in 3 weeks? See how many things are coming up when you are confronted with a big goal, or what could be big for you anyway. Next, will they let me? Will my competitors actually let me achieve that goal? As if I have to ask permission from my competition to achieve something. But this is how I felt back then, and it is good to know. And again, another time out from our regular masterclass, I want to remind you how valuable journaling is at this point. Because what I was doing here, since I was journaling, by journaling, you immediately slow down your thinking because you cannot write as fast as you think. So by doing so, you actually realize what is going on in your mind and what it messes up your mind and does not let you achieve what you want to achieve. Next, do I have what it takes? Number 10, something will happen again and I will fail as I do most of the times. Next, I am not always consistent. So what I say, I'm going to do this, that, or the other, I'm not always consistent with it. Next, will I have the energy? I'm living in Greece. I was living also in Greece back then, and this project was in the United States. There was a 10-hour difference. Will that work? Will I have the energy to stay up late and do all the other things that I have to do on a regular basis? It would be a stretch, right? Next, 10 years of linear growth. So back then, I want to give you like a tip here. This was not true, but this is what I believed. So I had some amazing successes and of course some other failures, but in no way I had linear growth. This is what I saw from like the weakest point of view that I had back then, because I was looking up to an amazingly big goal from what I have done already. And 14, I always chase my goals, meaning that I'm always behind my goals. I am never like have an overachievement or something. And this for me, again, was not true. This is what I saw back then. This is what my limitations, like how my limiting view of what I can achieve created in my mindset. So, what are the 14 upgrades? So, the first one was I don't have a big and responsive list, right? And my response to that is nothing stops me from building a bigger, more responsive list in the like as fast as possible, like in the fastest way possible, like create a new world record of the biggest, most responsive list. Nothing prohibits me. Next, budget is unlimited for a winning team and an irresistible offer. So if you're not accustomed to digital spend and advertising, let me give you an example. If you find a way to spend $1 in a campaign that gives you a gross profit of $2, how many times can you do that? As many times as possible, right? And if you have such a winning offer and such a winning launch, such a winning evergreen business, how much capital can you get from like a loan or angel capital or whatever? They see that you have something winning there, right? So my point of view of having limited budget was not right, was not true. And this is how I upgraded. Next, time is relevant in the quantum field, the quantum world, and also in the internet world. And I reminded myself how many times I woke up having like created, I woke up after 5 hours of sleep, having made $10,000 as I was sleeping. So I reminded myself, why are you talking about lack of time? All you need, you might have lack of effectiveness and you don't have effective actions yet, but no such thing as lack of time. In fact, I reminded myself of my early days in internet marketing where I participated in a launch. It was a launch of Mike Kinnings, if you know him, and he sent us affiliates an email an hour, a bit after an hour when the cart was open. And what he said was, you know, guys, we've just crossed the $1 million mark in less than an hour. And this was like mind blowing to me. So why go back and tell myself that 3 weeks is not enough time? Next, where were we? Number 4, all big names were once small. So my fourth limiting belief is I am competing against some big names, right? But all big names were once small. And most probably their beliefs is what allowed them to become bigger, stronger, wealthier, happier, right? Great. Next, the past does not equal the future, and this was my response to more than one limiting beliefs. And back, this limiting belief was that not much is happening during the past few months. And again, the past does not equal the future. Just because the last 3 months you had like $0 in revenue does not mean that you cannot have like 100,000 or $1 million in the next 3 months. If you think differently, and of course, as you think differently, you will act differently. Next, there is always a first time. And this was my response to the limiting belief that never done this before. There's always a first time. There was a time in my life that I couldn't walk. I'm walking right now. There was a time in my life that I couldn't speak a single word. And now I'm speaking fluently Greek, almost fluently, let's say English, some German, some Italian. How did I do that? I progressed. Next, you are not getting paid for time or effort. You're getting paid for the value that you produce. This was my response to the limitation. Who am I to get $1 million in 3 weeks? Next, the underdog story is always the best. And this was my response to the belief that, will they let me? And I thought, you know what? Subconsciously, many like big names would want Angelo to do great in this launch. Simply because they want the underdog to succeed, because it is like strengthening, validating the belief that you can start from nowhere and achieve something great. This is as simple as it gets. Next upgrade, I am always enough. And this was my response to I am not, I am always enough, number 9, to do I have what it takes? And this, of course, is something that I have been struggling since a very young age. And when I started my daily source of inspiration, I don't know what triggered it, but in fact, when I downloaded the idea of daily source of inspiration, if you follow me for a long time, you know that I'm writing a daily source of inspiration each and every day since January 1st, 2015. In just a few months' time, we will be celebrating 10 full years of this newsletter that has been going on all around the world every single day to thousands and thousands of people. And the download happened 24th of October. And at that download that I had for the daily shots of inspiration, I jot down, you deserve everything you want, and we all deserve your best self. And this is how, if you read my daily shots of inspiration, you know by now that this is how I end every single day. And you know what? It took me a while to realize that the first customer, let's say the first person I wanted to convey this message to was myself, was Sloppy Angelo, or as I wanted to see it later, Super-Angelo in the making. Because again, this is only a matter of perspective. You can say I am Sloppy Angelo, or you can say I am Super-Angelo in the making. This is the game-changing attitude. And this is how I allowed myself to upgrade my beliefs enough. Number 10, what I said is something will happen again. And my response is the past does not equal the future again. No matter what happened in my life up until now, I can choose to be my super self from now on, each and every moment. Will it be easy? No, because the past beliefs and the past habits do have momentum. And some of them have a lot of momentum because I have been practicing them for decades. But if this is my decision, if this is my intention, everything will start to change. Let me give you an example. Right now, you have a glass full of red wine in front of you, and you start pouring in a droplet of white wine, and not much is changing. You couldn't notice anything different, right? But if you start pouring white wine, and of course, a mix of red and white wine will be coming out of the glass, and eventually you will have almost, if not a glass full of white wine. This is how you upgrade your beliefs. And this can happen when it happens with emotional intensity. It doesn't take much time. I was committed to make this difference, and in one session, I upgraded 14 limiting beliefs in one session. Next, will I have the energy? And the answer is, of course, where focus goes, energy flows. If I focus on an amazingly delicious end result, and I remind myself, why am I doing what I am doing? Yes, I will have the energy, and I did. This is how important it is. Number 13, 10 years linear growth, which of course I told you already, it wasn't true anyway, but this is what I thought back then. The past does not equal the future. You can have 50 years of completely poor performance and upgrade yourself to have an amazing success. You know so many stories by now. I'm sure you've remembered, like the KFC story where Colonel Sanders started at 63 or something, and so many other stories. You don't need more than one anyway. All you need is to, and even if you don't have any stories, you know what? You will say to yourself, I will become the first person ever who started at 100 years old broke and ended up at 110 a millionaire. You have my permission. Give yourself that permission if you are 100 years old or old already. Next, I always chase my goals, meaning I'm always behind. And of course, again, the answer is the past does not equal the future. If you are committed from now on to achieve what it is you want to achieve, you can have a completely different outcome. So what happened? It took me like half an hour to jot down all these limiting beliefs and another half hour to come up with upgrades. But I want you now to completely open your eyes and your ears, like a complete expansion of your consciousness, because I want you to be ready to receive the next message. What happened back then that was so game-changing to me? And by the way, let me tell you this. Did I achieve my goal? Yes or no? What do you believe? The answer is no, I didn't reach my destination of $1 million, but yes, I did overachieve my initial desire of having gross profit more than $100,000 because I played the game to win in the first place. I blowed it up my goal by 10. I was working on that number and the other number became easy. This is the game changing. So you might say that this initial shift was the 15th move that made the difference. So focus now. Really, this alone could change your life forever in an amazing way. I instantly upgraded my beliefs with logical arguments. For me, they might not be for you, but for me, they were absolutely logical, meaning I believed these arguments already. They were already part of my core belief system. And what happened then? I completely suspended the other beliefs. I completely dismissed them. I ridiculed them. What are you talking about, Angelo? These beliefs were history in a fraction of a second. And this is very important because now you have the technology to start to keep upgrading your beliefs until you reach the beliefs of your super self. Was it worth the time? Let's see. Was it worth like 1 hour in total? And the answer is, of course, simply because when I got started, I had 14 reasons to fail. And an hour later, I had 14 reasons to succeed. You see how important this belief weaving is. How important it is to start playing the game to win, to start by upgrading your beliefs and allowing yourself to experience a completely different world afterwards. You will see opportunities, you will meet people, you will associate yourself with completely different ideas. You will attract the capital you need, the resource the network you need, everything, simply because now you expect this, you believe this. This is not something that is like in the stratosphere of possibilities. It is something that is within the realm of possibilities for you. It is within your consciousness of what is possible. So you have a choice right now. You will either upgrade your beliefs or you will downgrade your destination. You can't have both. You can't have this belief system and like the best life ever. You need to upgrade your beliefs now in order to reach your super self. And as I like to say, the only set of beliefs that will make you see your super self in the mirror is the super belief set. And how you get that? You keep upgrading your beliefs. So, your homework. Enough with the theory. Let's go to the practice. This is all you have to do. Take your journal and start making a list of all the reasons you believe you cannot yet have what you want. You cannot achieve what you want. You cannot reach your destination. Why do you still believe that you cannot achieve your goal? Number one, because of this. Number two, because of this. And if you need some help on how to do that, or if you are not completely truthful to yourself and you want to be like you're not allowing yourself to be vulnerable enough, go back to see my list. Because not only I did it with myself, now it's public. I shared it with each and every one of you. And I did it for one reason alone, to prove to you that all these thoughts are within our mind, within our consciousness, but most of them are at a subconscious level. And if we don't give ourselves permission to surface our limiting beliefs, not much will happen in the future for us. Next, Suspend, dismiss each and every belief with a logical argument. And immediately you will see like the neural pathway breaking in your mind and another more serving neural pathway, neural association getting developed in real time. Next, write how you feel with your new set of more empowering beliefs. How do you feel now? Do you feel lighter? Do you feel closer to your destination mentally and emotionally, even though not much has happened in the outer world? How do you feel? Do you feel more grateful? Do you feel more optimistic about your future? And last but not least, rinse and repeat. Repeat this exercise until as many times as you have to. Angelo, how many daily shots of inspiration should I read? The answer is until you reach your destination. How many times should I do this exercise? 2, 3, 5? How many times? Until you achieve what you want to achieve. It's not a number. It's being committed to your super self, being committed to what you said is your most burning desire, your number one priority. This is all it takes. So, that said, I want to remind you once again that you deserve everything you want, and we all deserve your best self. And I highly recommend, if you don't have another obligation right now, as I'm signing off, take your journal and do your first belief weaving exercise right now. Your first set upgraded, and sleep tonight with a much higher set of beliefs, much closer to the ones of your super self. Consider this masterclass as a preparation for what I like to call a Super September. I have an amazing set of masterclasses coming up, and you don't want to miss any of them. So if you haven't done so already, you can subscribe and turn on your notifications and make sure you are at my daily shot of inspiration list and you are reading each and every day, because as Zig Ziglar used to say, you cannot have like 7 showers on Sunday and call yourself, like well broomed and groomed, right? Always remember that the reason why we have each and every single day a daily shot of inspiration and why we will be having this Super September, because we are committed to our super self, because we are committed to turning all our visions a reality, because we are committed to making not only for ourselves, but for our dear ones and for humanity at large, which is suffering in so many ways. We are creating we are making ourselves an amazing cell of humanity, and we are becoming a much, much stronger force for good each and every single day. I thank you so much for your attention and participation, and I will be seeing you soon with the amazing Super September Masterclass series. Ciao, ciao.